I'm sitting 10th, 10 laps to go in the stage, and I don't know if my race is about to end right now. That's the reality every driver at Lowa Speedway now has to sit with. Not because of a crash, not because of a new car or a redesigned aero package, because of something almost nobody outside the garage noticed. A single procedural change buried inside a Thursday announcement. And it could decide who wins at Lowa before the laps even run out. Nobody in that garage knew it was coming. Here's what actually happened. Beginning at Lowa Speedway, if a natural caution falls with 10 or fewer laps remaining in Stage 1 or Stage 2, the stage is immediately declared over. The field freezes under yellow. The leader at that exact moment is awarded the stage win on the spot. Top 10 stage points are locked in using scoring loops and post-race replay review. No racing back to green. No completing the pass that was developing before the yellow flew. Whatever position a driver holds the instant that caution flag appears is the position that counts, permanently, for that stage. Before we go further, this channel, NASCAR Trackline TV, is closing in on 1,500 subscribers, and breakdowns like this one are exactly how we get there. If you want the full picture on every rule change, every penalty, and every storyline shaping the 2026 season as it happens, subscribing helps push us toward that number this week. Now, back to what this rule actually changes for the drivers on track. On paper, it looks like a footnote buried in a press release. No new car, no aero package, nothing that makes headlines on its own. But it quietly rewires how the final laps of every single stage will be raced for the rest of the season. This isn't a rules footnote. It's a countdown clock nobody agreed to, and it starts the second Stage 1 goes green. To understand why NASCAR made this change, rewind to Indianapolis, July 26th. Two stages that weekend ended almost the exact same way. A natural caution landing right before the scheduled stage break, the field crawling back to green for only a handful of laps before freezing again under another caution. Combined, those two situations burned more than 20 minutes under caution. It got bad enough that NASCAR's own communications VP, Mike Ford, addressed it directly on the Hauler Talk podcast. Ford said, "So when you're at that late, there's no way to pick up the field, open pit road, and get back to green." That single admission mattered more than any complaint from fans or media that weekend. It meant NASCAR itself had already concluded the current system was broken, internally, before the fans ever forced the conversation into the open. 3 days later, NASCAR responded publicly. Steve O'Donnell posted a video announcing the change directly to fans, without a press conference or a written statement first. He said, "Long periods of caution lapse, and not enough green flag racing. We heard you, and we want to make a change." He followed that with a sharper line aimed squarely at the fan base watching at home. No more back-to-back cautions. No more elongated caution laps. More green flag racing. More action for you, the fans. But buried inside that same announcement was a warning most viewers skipped past. O'Donnell said, "It's not going to be perfect, but we're going to learn from this and continue to innovate." That's NASCAR admitting, in its own announcement, that it does not fully know how this new rule plays out under race conditions. And that admission is the real center of this story. If NASCAR itself isn't certain this works, why is almost nobody talking about what could go wrong once the green flag drops at Lowa? 10 laps to go no longer means what it used to mean inside a stock car. A driver running second is no longer racing for position on lap 9, lap 8, lap 7, the way stage racing has worked for years. They're racing like the checkered flag could fall at any second, because a caution anywhere on the racetrack ends the stage instantly, regardless of how close the battle behind him is running. A driver sitting 7th is no longer focused purely on gaining spots. They're playing defense, because any incident anywhere in the field freezes the running order exactly as it stands the moment the yellow comes out. A leader who's safe, a chaser who isn't, a single spin anywhere on the racetrack that can end it all before a driver gets the chance to make the move he was setting up. This rule applies across all 3 national series for the remainder of 2026, Cup, Xfinity, and Trucks alike. But Lowa is the first live test of it, and Lowa is a tight, physical 0.875-mile short track where the field runs compressed together, making it arguably the worst possible layout to introduce this kind of unpredictability into a stage finish. Days before NASCAR ever confirmed the change publicly, fans had already been discussing almost the exact same fix online, in a widely shared discussion thread that circulated across the community. Fans argued NASCAR should simply call the stage the moment a caution falls inside that final window, instead of dragging the field through a restart that never fully develops into real racing. That conversation existed among fans before the official rule did, built on the same frustration Ford and O'Donnell later confirmed. Once the rule became real, that same conversation shifted direction almost immediately. Fans began asking whether drivers would now treat the final 10 laps of every stage as the actual finish line itself, whether the incentive to bank a stage win before a caution steals it away could push drivers into riskier, more aggressive racing in exactly the laps where patience used to matter most under the old system. The online community was predicting NASCAR's blind spot in real time, days before a single lap was run under the new rule. The points race raises the stakes even further heading into this weekend. Heading into Lowa, Denny Hamlin leads the standings, with Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney close behind him in the chase. Only 4 regular season races remain before the playoff field is locked in for the postseason. With margins that tight between the top contenders, a stage frozen mid-battle isn't a minor procedural detail anymore. It's points that could directly determine who makes the playoff cut and who gets left out entirely. Picture the nightmare version of this rule playing out in real time, a championship contender running third, closing in on the 2 cars ahead of him lap after lap, when a caution falls with 6 laps left in the stage, frozen, instantly, with no warning. No chance to complete the pass he was setting up. No chance to argue it out on the racetrack, the way drivers have settled these moments for decades. The team left insisting the outcome was decided by the timing of an incident, not by the racing itself. That's where the suspicion starts to build. Fans won't just be asking why races are running long under caution anymore, the way they were before Indianapolis. They'll start asking whether a specific caution's timing decided a stage outcome, whether it was random, whether someone got fortunate, whether the driver who benefited had any part in how that caution came out. Some fans have already floated a darker version of that same question, wondering aloud whether teams could eventually learn to use this window to their own advantage, whether a car getting loose at exactly the right moment could protect a teammate's track position right as the caution flag becomes a stage-ending weapon in someone's favor. There is no evidence of manipulation happening at this stage, none at all, but that uncertainty is now baked into every single stage finish for the remainder of the year, whether NASCAR intended it or not. This weekend, at 180 miles per hour, every driver, every crew chief, and every spotter at Lowa Speedway will be counting down the final 10 laps of every stage, knowing the ground could shift under them without warning, based on a rule that didn't exist 2 weeks ago. Will this be the fix that finally saves NASCAR from its own broken caution problem, or the moment it hands teams a brand new way to bend the outcome in their favor before the checkered flag ever falls? If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next. Drop your take on this rule change in the comments below, and share this video with another NASCAR fan who needs to see exactly what's changing at Lowa this weekend.